My dog was a drunk too.
Oh my.
You don't know that you're crazy when you're crazy.
Welcome to Beyond the Sugarcoat.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Sugarcoat. I'm Diane. What's it like to be an alcoholic? What's it like to be an alcoholic before you're even a teenager? What's it like to be homeless? Today, we're here to find out from Martie, our dear friend, and she's going to tell us what her life was like and the wisdom she's learned along the journey. Hi, Martie.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
You too.
So we're going to go right into this.
Okay.
You've lived a wonderful, exciting trials and tribulation life.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Funny.
And when we started talking, I was like, oh my God. Can you tell me about alcoholism?
Sure. I come from an alcoholic family. So alcoholism is a combination of, I think, hereditary and also just from not learning how to cope in life, so you escape into that. So I was drinking probably when I was about 11 or 12.
That's when you had your first drink?
Yeah, I remember it. I remember it distinctly. It felt like, oh my God, this is heaven.
Wow.
Yeah, it took me away from everything. Of course, it only lasted that one time. And all the years that I was drinking, I was always looking to find that high that I had the first time, but I never found it again. I was pretty much a full-blown alcoholic by the time I was maybe 13 or 14.
Did your family know what was happening?
Yes and no. I come from a family with a lot of alcoholism in it. My father, my sister, my brother, and my mom had her own thing going, but not alcoholism. I'm sure they noticed, but I think everybody was in kind of denial because everybody was doing their own little thing. You know? And I didn't think there was anything wrong with me back then.
And everybody else is doing it in the house.
Oh, exactly. You think you can climb a mountain until you find out you can't. I kept on drinking and drinking through my teenage years.
I can understand you being curious the first time and you had that high. And then maybe the next few times you tried to chase that high and it never came back. Do you know why you continued drinking afterwards? Because
I was addicted. Alcoholism is a disease and it's addictive. It's like people who smoke. They want to quit, but they can't. It takes years and years for people to quit smoking. And I think when you're young, like I was, it made me feel stronger, even though I wasn't, but I thought I was. And it gave me the ability to be able to stand out and say and do what I wanted, even though that wasn't healthy. But it becomes part of who you are.
Did you realize you were an alcoholic?
Not until I was about 17.
And did you want to do anything to stop it?
No, not then.
So you knew you had a problem, but you didn't want to stop it?
Right. The problem that I had at that time was very small compared to what happened to me through the years. You just kind of progress with it. It becomes part of who you are. I wasn't drunk every day all the time because I was going to school until I quit when I was like 16. And then I had a job, a part-time job. So in between my drinking, I worked and went to school a little bit.
Your friends, they were finishing high school or were they quitting also?
No, they all finished high school. My sisters did, my brother did, I just didn't.
What did that do to your self-esteem?
I didn't know why I disliked school too much until years later when I was in therapy and I found out I was molested as a young child, probably maybe 5, and then again at 10, and then again about 12. So when that happened to me, I remember this, the day after that first time it happened, I was in like kindergarten, I guess, at 5, but I couldn't retain anything. I couldn't remember anything. I just lost it all. It just was gone. So I struggled through the years trying to stay in school, and I couldn't, so I left.
Was it somebody close to you that molested you?
The first time.
So it was multiple people that molested you at different times?
When you're little, you don't want to remember it because it's too horrible. But what happens is it stays with you, and then one day, boom, there it is. And it's just devastating. I was molested when I was 5 by a crazy old man that was part of the church we were in. Years later, he molested me again. And then years later, it was somebody else. I also got raped when I was my early 20s.
Did your parents know anything? Did you have anyone you can go to talk to and say, look, this is what happened to me? Or everything was just hush-hushed?
Well, Interesting you say that. I come from a family where I remember one time we were all sitting around at dinner, and my dad just announced, "Oh, by the way, I have tuberculosis and I have to go to the hospital." He was a drinker too. So he went away for a while. He said that, and everybody just looked like, "Oh, okay, pass the sugar." It was crazy, absolutely crazy. You don't know that you're crazy when you're crazy
No, you don't.
until, whatever happens to you,
And then you realize that, oh, that's
then you
not
realize.
normal
I thought it was a normal life for everyone.
because that's all you knew.
Yeah, and all my friends were drinkers.
Wow.
I didn't want to hang around with anybody who didn't drink. It would be,
Drinking was more accepted back then?
oh yeah,
Okay.
oh gosh, yeah,
Wow.
very much so. I mean, everybody hung out at the bars, and you didn't go out to movies or plays. You went to the bar. So of course, drinking and staying high all the time, I didn't have to feel that. It's more of
Yeah.
a feeling, I mean, even today, I have things that I remember from the past, and I'm like, ooh, I don't want to go there. So I try not to feel it, but I found out that fear can't hurt you. You just walk right through it and face it. If you don't face something, it's going to own you rather than you facing it and owning it.
Right. And
Yeah.
it's following you throughout your
Yes.
life.
It was a very confusing, mixed up time for me.
Did your parents or anyone try to get you help?
Oh, yeah. But it didn't work. It just didn't work. Finally, when I sobered up years and years later, and like I said, I did a lot of therapy, things started to make sense to me. But by the time I was in my 20s, I started working in the bars. I was a bartender on the west side of New York City in Hell's Kitchen. And back then it was pretty rough.
And you were still an alcoholic at this time?
Still an alcoholic. I just don't drink. You don't stop.
What does that mean?
Well, you don't stop being an alcoholic. I mean, if I picked up one drink now, it would probably kill me. Because
Really?
I'd be 1,000 times, I'd go right back to where I was when I was a child getting drunk. It progresses. Even though you stop drinking, the disease is inside of you and it just keeps progressing and progressing. It's the first drink that gets you, not the last one. So I didn't just stop cold turkey. I can't tell you how many detox units I was in. Must have been 15, 16 times.
Wow.
I was in mental institutions. They put me in the psych ward
How did you end up in the psych ward?
because I would do very crazy things when I was drunk. I'd get drunk and the things I do that I didn't even remember. I was very vicious. I would get in fights with people, end up in places where I didn't know how I got there. I'd be walking out in the streets and not knowing where I was or who I was. So the cops would see me and they'd pick me up and they'd take me to the psych unit. But they did that to lots
Yeah.
of people who drunk. So you go in there and they dry out and then they throw you out again and then you just start drinking again.
What was it like being in the psych ward?
It didn't bother me, because I could dry out. I couldn't dry out on my own any longer. I was drinking every day at that time when I was about 20. And I could not stop on my own. And I didn't go to AA then. I wasn't ready for that. So when I get really, really sick from it, I check myself into a detox.
So you were conscious enough of,
Oh, yeah.
of what was going on to go say, all right, it's time for me to do something.
Well, I didn't want to stop drinking, but I wanted
You wanted breaks.
I wanted a break. I wanted to get it out of my system because after a while, when you're an alcoholic, at least my type where I drank every day, some people drink for little periods and don't drink. They're still alcoholics
Yeah.
also. But when I took a drink, I'd get drunk right away and I couldn't drink anymore. It didn't do anything for me. In other words,
Wow, you drank that much.
oh yeah.
Did you ever have alcohol poisoning?
Yeah, I remember one time I was tending bar and somebody came in and said, "My God, you're all yellow." My eyes were yellow. I had hepatitis and cirrhosis of the liver. And so I went into hospital for that. I was in the hospital for 3 months. The day I got out, I picked up a cigarette and a drink. That's how strong it was. It got a hold of me and I just wouldn't let me go. I just wouldn't.
It's like a demon.
Absolutely. So it ruined my life, whereas at the beginning, it made me feel better.
Mm-hmm.
But after a while, it just takes a hold of you and won't let it go.
When you were molested, okay, 5, you couldn't do anything. As you got older, did you ever think I should speak up and say something to someone?
When I got raped, I did. I was working at the bar then. And I told the people that I knew who'd come in there, some of them were friends, and nobody believed me.
Was it someone you knew that you
Yeah,
said?
we all knew this
Yeah,
person.
date rape.
Yeah, and that made me furious. I don't think I was ever madder in my whole life than that. And
no one believed you?
they wouldn't believe me. So finally, he got arrested for raping someone else. And then everybody came to me and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Way too late."
Yeah.
So that I did. But when I was younger, I didn't tell anyone. And the thing that, just so you guys out there know, I think that we're more alert and more educated today. It's like people with young children, especially little girls, or boys too, they know about the signs to look for things that are different, or if a child just totally goes inside or they're angry or whatever. My mother didn't know. Years later, when I was sober, I told her about it, and she said to me, the reason I didn't recognize it because the same thing happened to her when she was a child. But I'm happy today that people are knowing more
Yes.
to look for this.
Yeah, and it's people like you who are brave enough to sit here and tell your story so you can warn other people. Go get help. You don't need to let people continue to molest you.
Exactly. The way I look at my life was the first 30 years was the worst part. When I sobered up later, when I was in my 30s, and I started moving through life and learning about myself, very heavy in AA, very heavy in an emotional workshop for people. I just really involved with women and worked with them. We kind of helped ourselves through the years learn more about life. I'm very happy that now in my life, I'm 80 years old, and I've been with a lot of women and helped them as they helped me. The first 30 years of my life was not good at all. So I look at that as a learning tool, because everything that I am today was from what I learned in those first 30 years. That may sound crazy. The way to be successful in life is to own what happened to you, learn about it, and then use it to help other people.
Yeah.
And that's what I've done in the second half of my life, from the time I was 30 when I sobered up until now when I'm 80. The thing of helping people, because it helps me.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps me sober and it keeps me grateful for life.
It gives you a purpose to understand why you had to go through what you had to so you can help other people.
Well, exactly. If I didn't know what happened now, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be alive.
How did you end up homeless?
So during my years from when I left my parents' home and I was out on my own, I was about 21. And I had my own place to live through the years because I did work tending bar in the west side of New York. And I kept enough money in order to pay rent and live somewhere. But as my alcoholism got worse and worse, there wasn't any more money because I just drank it all up. And I'd get kicked out of apartments that I lived in. After that, I would stay with friends now and then. I'd check myself in and out of detox so I could stay there for a week or so and get myself back on my feet. There were times when I had no place to go. And I had a dog. He was a St. Bernard and a Collie mix, and he was just awesome. His name was 𝐁𝐿𝐲. And I took him with me wherever I went. He went with me when I worked in the bars. So when I was homeless, he and I lived on the streets.
Together?
Yeah.
You literally lived on the streets?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, where was your belonging? Did you have any belongings?
Well, I had some here at this one's house, some there at this one's house.
And
So
they knew you were homeless and they let you go?
Yeah. Well, I would go anyway. I didn't want to stay there too much longer.
You were probably stubborn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was just nuts, absolutely insane. The thing that I liked about being homeless was I had no responsibilities.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I didn't have to pay rent. I didn't have to buy anything. I just could be myself. It was me, myself, my
Your
dog, and a jug of wine.
How did you get food?
I didn't eat that much because I was drunk all the time.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't eat that much. I just drank. And when I drank, I couldn't enjoy it anymore. I'd just go from a drink to total blackout. So I'd stay here and there. I'd go into hospitals, into detoxes. And then finally, at the very end, I had no place at all to go. I call them my angels. I was in a detox unit in a hospital. And these 3 people came in, and there were 2 ladies and a man, and they were at the end of my bed. I wasn't that well then.
Were you hallucinating?
Well, I thought I was.
Oh, okay.
But I wasn't. And they were from an institution on the east side of Manhattan where they had alcoholics come in there. They sobered them up. And then they'd stay there for 30 days. This was a study. These people would study how long people stayed sober. They went into hospitals with detox units, and to find out who was in there. They told me who they were, although at that time it didn't make much sense to me. We would like to take you into Smithers Institute. That was this institution. And would you be willing to go? And I said, sure. I had no place to live. I had nowhere to go, no money. My dog was with other people, so I knew he was okay.
How old were you at this time?
29.
So you got fed up?
I didn't get fed up. It just didn't do anything for me anymore.
Mm-hmm. You wanted out. You just didn't know how to get out of this.
Right. So here were these angels there saying to me, we'll be willing to help you. Would you go? And I said, of course. So I went there. And by the way, I had gotten into a fight with this person, and I had a broken hip and a cracked jaw and a broken arm.
Look at you, Miss Feisty.
I lost this one, obviously.
Oh.
So I'm on crutches. And they took me there. I stayed there for 30 days. And while in there, they tried to find places for people to go after the 30-day. And they told me that they had a place upstate in Albany, New York, home for women who were recovering from alcoholics. So they shipped me off there. I remember that. I was on my crutches. They gave me a few dollars, stuck me on a Greyhound bus, and I went up to Albany. And when I got there, the people from the halfway house were there. So they looked at me and they said, oh my God, she's on crutches, because it was a 4-story building with stairs where you'd have to go.
No elevator?
No. This was going back in the old days. But I stayed there, and I stayed at that halfway house for a whole year. And it was, what a blessing. It was just a blessing. It took me that long to just take the plug out of the jug. I just stopped drinking. They had AA meetings there, but I didn't get too much into that. So I hadn't done any work on myself at that point. I was just a dry alcoholic. I was a crazy alcoholic, nutty person who didn't drink.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, after I left there, my life started to change. And my mother, who was just so wonderful, took me in. Very brave to do that, because she was not that well herself. Physically, she wasn't well. But she told me she wanted me to come to Florida. So they put me on an airplane, and I flew to Florida. And that's when the second half of my life started.
That was your saving grace.
Yes, absolutely.
That was the turning point of your life.
Oh, yeah. Plus, if I went back to where I came from, I would never have made it.
Did you have your dog still?
No. I got him about 6 months later when we had enough money. My mother didn't have any money. I brought him down to Florida, and I was in AA then. Every year you go to AA, they give you, you stay sober, they give you a medallion to represent each year.
Uh-huh.
Every year when my dog would go with me to AA now, because he drank a lot.
Did he drink alcohol too?
Yes, but wine.
Oh.
We'd go bar hopping, and everybody knew him and me.
So you were like a little bum.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. My dog was a drunk too.
Oh my God.
So every year when I went to my AA birthday, they would give me a medallion, and they'd give him one too.
Aww.
So he had a collar with all the medallions all over him for years and years, but he stayed sober too. He passed away when he was like 16.
Oh, he lived to be pretty long despite all that stuff.
Oh, he was wonderful. At that point, he was the only thing that I really loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go to your mom and you live there, and how do you turn yourself around? You don't have anyone there to watch you anymore.
At that point, I knew if I was going to pick up a drink, it would kill me. I honestly knew that, because I was such a bad, low bottom drunk that when I went to one of the hospitals, at the end of it, I had hepatitis, cirrhosis of the liver. I was 110 pounds. I had a spot on my lung from smoking. So I was a miracle just to be walking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I knew that I could not drink. And another thing, too, that I remember, when I first went into AA when I was about 31, right after I left that halfway house, I loved it. I really loved being there.
In AA?
Yes, I really did. There were a bunch of crazy people there along with me, people who understood me.
Yes.
And I understood them. And it's just the best way in the world to stay sober.
They're not innately crazy. It's just how society sees people. But they're normal people who just have problems, and alcohol was their way.
Exactly.
So you guys could relate to each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody with a disease, whether it's alcoholism, drug addiction, sexual, you always hang with the people that are the same. So I did that in my alcoholism, and of course I did it in my sobriety too, because it's very hard for someone to understand what happens to a person when they become alcoholic or drug addicted or whatever.
What happens? Tell me.
Your thinking is different. The world is different than whatever was ever normal, I guess, when the average person would walk through life. It's just a totally bizarre, off the wall way to think.
Can you tell me what you were thinking that was so bizarre? Like, just so someone who doesn't really drink,
right,
or have an alcoholic problem, like how do, when they see someone who does have it, just to understand their mind a little bit, what's going on in their head?
That's kind of hard to define. I can just tell you what my experience was. I'm not going to speak for anyone else, but for me, I felt like the world owed me a living. I didn't want to be responsible for anything. I wanted to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it and do more of it. I was not ethical. I was not nice. I was the type of person who you would look at and think, oh my God, this one needs to be put away. I look back at my life now and it was like, that's a whole different person. I remember once I was in a school talking to kids about alcoholism, and the one little kid shook his hand. He says, "You remind me of Mrs. Beaver on the TV." How could that be you? This little kid said that to me.
I understand what that little kid said to you, because when I look at you, I mean, obviously I didn't know you during that time. I see you as this hardworking, level-headed, straight-laced person.
Well, I'm probably not straight-laced, but if you want to use that, that's okay, because that's what you see. I'm fine with that. But the rest of it, that's who I am. I am total opposite of who I used to be. Although I believe all of that was inside of me. I guess that was always inside of me, even as a young child and as a teenager and a young adult. I just didn't know it. But now I look back and I see, all right, I was driven, but I also had tenacity. Abusive, but I'm also loving. So all the opposite of what I was is what I am now. And it took me
That is a lot of work to work on yourself.
I've been sober 44 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Maybe even more. I don't know, what's 31 from 80? I have done a lot of work. Oh, so much work. In AA, working with the women, in the emotional breakthrough workshops that we do. I remember somebody said to me, "You're the type of person who somebody would come up to you and say, 'Help me.'"
And you would.
Yeah, but it's who I am. You know? And as I get older, I don't do as much as I used to. However, the people that I do choose to work with, it's effective. Yeah. I'm not bragging. It's just I am who I was, and I am what my life taught me.
Yeah. I love how you just said that. And it's not bragging. It's you have every right at this age in your life to feel the way you do. You've had the time to assess your life.
Well,
so you have every right to assess yourself the way you need to.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Yeah. Having been through a lot of my own little crap, you really learn a lot as you get older. And if you can assess yourself, that's the biggest gift you can have.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got sober, you're helping people. She's even started workshops for people.
An emotional breakthrough workshop. And it's not just for alcoholics, everybody and anybody. What it does is it shows you where you will not let yourself move forward. We show you where you stop yourself, your emotional growth, why, and how to change it. It's unbelievable.
Now, see, Martie, you couldn't have done that work probably if you didn't go through those things.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And like you're here teaching so many people what it was like to be an alcoholic, what it's like to be molested, what you can do to help yourself when no one else recognizes the signs. Right? And that you can turn your life around. And like you said, turning around and helping other people is the best way to use that adversity.
Yeah, it definitely keeps me sane and sober.
Yeah. I want to thank you so much for sitting
Oh.
down and talking about this. This story is not over. Remember, the first 30 years of her life was her hardest. She got pregnant. So stay tuned for the next segment of Beyond the Sugarcoat. Thank you for joining.